Alright, we're back. Um, we're continuing for another 4 chapters, and another 4, and another 4. So, there we go. Oh, this is actually going to be 3.5. So the last one was 3.5. Okay, so I'm tired. I'm very tired. So, like, if I pause a lot, I'm sorry. I'm gonna rest after this because I literally cannot read fanfic for so long. There's only so much shitty 2017 old, outdated, in-universe fanfic that I can read, you know? So let me get my seltzer water. Here we go. Harlan snuck after Sun. Sorry, I just farted. Noticing the honey blonde girl following him. Sun had his rifle raised, noticing the littlest things. The girl clung tightly to his leg, looking as if she were 5 or 6. Mm. She noticed tears trailing down the girl's face, while Sun seemed less alert and tired. Mm. Excuse me. Shh, Nebby, we'll find her. I can't take care of you because I know the mean lady will hurt me badly. Sun's voice was soft, a tone safe for loved ones only. I don't want to stay with her, Nebby whined. Nebby was an OC, basically. She was my character in like my playthrough of Pokemon Moon, I think. I'm not exactly sure. It was before the Ultra games came out, and she had like a Google Plus account and everything. Like, uh, and then I gave her to someone else, and I'm not friends with that person anymore. But you know, you know how it is. Um, Sun sighed, and Harlan knew that he was looking for her, his ex. Harlan gently crept out of the shadows, and his eyes lightened as he saw her. Harlan, good, there you are. I never told you this, but I have a younger sister named Nebula. Sun's eyes were dark pools of pain and loss. Mother died, so my dad sent the poor kid over to me, and I can't take care of her because I have the insane mother of your boyfriend to deal with. He snarled out that last sentence. You're saying I need to take care of Nebula? Just keep her safe, Sun pleaded. You might not like me anymore, but you're the only person I trust besides Moon. Harlan sighed, feeling him take her hand. Please, he pled. I will, but who will take care of her? I have more business to take care of than a 5-year-old girl. You're gonna take care of her. Okay. I don't want her to die, Sun snapped. Harlan was silent. He sighed, looking away. Just please. If I agree to, can you keep a secret? She asked. Sun's eyes were impassive. Of course. I don't even know if that word was used right. I love Gladion. I love Gladion, Harlan whispered. Sun looked at her with disgust. I love him so, so much, but I can't let you tell anyone or Lusamine might slaughter us both. I can keep that secret. Sun glared at her. Thank you, Harlan whispered. You don't know how much this means to me. Sun nodded. Anything for you. Harlan sighed, ignoring Sun's little comment, and said, Nebby, I'm gonna bring you somewhere where you'll be okay, safe, okay? She took Nebby's little hand, leading her to her most trusted friend. Nebby followed her, sniffling. Harlan slipped into Lucimine's room. She noticed a flash of blonde hair and a sparkle of green eyes. Lily, Harlan whispered. Lily turned around, her long hair flowing behind her. She looked absolutely beautiful to Harlan with her clean-looking hair and beautiful flowing dress. Dude, I was so gay for Lily. It wasn't even funny at that point. I was 12. Give me a break. I need you to do a favor for me. If it involves that cute little girl at your side, I accept. Lily looked down at Nebby, who was sucking on her chubby little thumb. This is Sun's sister. Harlan led the small child forward. I felt amazing to babysit such a young girl. Harlan longed for children of her own. Incorrect. Can you keep her safe and away from Lusamine? Of course. Lily neared the littler girl. I had no clue Sun had a sister. I just found out. Harlan looked at the honey blonde child. She had a little tuft of hair on her head with the same bangs as her brother. What was strange was that she had the same hairstyle as Moon, except for her own little childless features. They're siblings, okay? I had canon that they're siblings. Okay. Apparently, I didn't think the same as I do now when I wrote this. Thanks, Lily. Harlan left the room with a nod of farewell to her, then ran back to Gladion's room, longing to be back in the sleek, shadowy Art Swede's arms again. We'll figure something out in a few days. If those employees can find some way to cure him, he stays alive. If not, I go and kill him myself. Harlan froze as she heard the man named Guzma talking to Lusamine. Of course, that Harlan girl might try and stop me. She loves him, you know. Lusamine looked up at him. I do know. I overheard their little conversation in the past hour. Harlan's blood went cold. Um, Let me guess. He kissed her, didn't he? I didn't hear anything other than that boy's obnoxious accent. Why are they xenophobic? Harlan had the urge to jump out and scream. He isn't obnoxious, and I won't let you hurt my Gladion. She didn't move, only slunk through the shadows and slipped into Gladion's room. She shrieked at the next thing she saw. Oh, joy, I wonder what it was. What's that? 5. Gladion jumped as Harlan shrieked as she saw him unbandaging his hand. Gladion, no! Harlan shrieked, hugging him tightly as she jumped on him. Gladion stared down at the wound that refused to heal. He could see streaks of blackened poison through his blood flow, the natural chemical that aided his muscle tissue and killed his body's way to fight back, and he winced as Harlan touched his wrist, offering to close it back up. No, Harlan, I need to keep it open. If Mon knew about this, he would kill Lusamine. I hope I'm not butchering names, Harlan said. Like I didn't know that. Of course he would. Mon let him never met his own children and would kill to protect them. Gladion tilted his head so his eyes met Harlan's. Such as I would. Disgusting. Harlan looked away. We can't have kids. This mean will surely get Guzma to kill you. Um, Gladion covered his injury and crossed his arms, staring at the door. I can't let Mother divorce Mon. You can't do anything about it, Harlan sighed. I can do something. Gladion growled, looking into her eyes. I can get my friend to help us. You'd like it. It's the most loyal friend I've ever befriended. Besides you, dearie. It? Harlan asked. Gladion didn't bother to put his shoes on, only led Harlan by the arm outside where Lusamine was still standing, still flirting with Guzma. If that's us one day, Harlan muttered under her breath, I surely won't act that way. You're definitely not, Lusamine. Gladion pressed his cheek to hers. He led her underneath the building, where the prisoners were kept. The scent of rotting food filled the room, and Gladion wrinkled his nose against it. Gladion, this place is scary, Harlan whispered. No, Gladion crooned, using the voice he knew Null would recognize. Nuru? Harlan screamed, grabbing onto her lover's arm. Gladion shushed her, carefully holding out a hand to the direction of the call. Null, it's me, the Swedish guy who loves you. Gladion narrowed his eyes against the dim light. Null growled in pain. Gladion winced, hearing the agony of his call. Null, I'm here to save you. I'm going to bring you to Mon, and Harlan and I will make you feel better. And maybe me too. Gladion let his fingers brush rusted metal, and he knew he'd rejoin with his friend. Gladion, we don't have a flashlight. Harlan tapped his back. So? He turned to glare at her. I can see through the dark. I just can't undo chains. Null looked reproachful. Don't look at me that way, Gladion warned it. I came here to save you. Nuru, Null muttered. Whatever you say, Harlan said. Hey! Gladion turned away from Null to see a flash of black and gray, then finding himself face to face with a rifle. Sun glared at him through narrowed, great eyes. If you're thinking about releasing that monstrosity and destroying the Foundation with it, you're barking up the wrong tree. What the fuck? That's so out of character for this Sun. What the fuck? Sun warned. You sound so immature, Sun. I knew it too. Gladion rolled his eyes. Just let me release it. It's my friend. I'll make sure it doesn't kill anyone. Ugh. I don't believe you, Sun snarled. You'd better believe me, Gladion snapped back. He turned away from him and shielded Null. Why do you think I captured it anyway, so my sister would be safe? Sun shrilled off, lowering the gun. He looked Gladion dead in the eyes. Better tell no one I have a sister. Null wouldn't hurt a child if you made it, Gladion said, glancing at the frightened creature. I also heard about how you left your sister with Lily. I'm not surprised. Oh, shut up. Sun looked away. Just don't tell anyone, and I promise not to shoot you. You better not shoot me, Gladion huffed. Null growled behind him. That's a promise you won't be able to keep, Harlan warned. I won't hurt any of you, even if it gets me thrown into the ocean. Sun's eyes were serious. He's not kidding, Harlan said, looking up at Gladion. He's given me that look before. Ugh. Ugh. Okay, fine. Just get Null out of here. Sun nodded, unchaining Null. He stood up, dropping the chain to the floor. Keep that thing safe, will you? He muttered before leaving. Null, don't ever run off like that again. Inconsistency. Gladion let his fingers brush the Pokemon's side. I found your replacement. Hey! Harlan glared at him. I'm not your replacement to some chimera. Okay, wow, don't kill me. Gladion stepped back. Harlan looked down at Null, who sat down and looked from him to her. It looks like it hasn't eaten in years. That's impossible. I only heard of Sun being a volunteer here for a few months now. I know from fact that it ran back here when it couldn't find me, and that's when it disappeared altogether. Gladion looked sternly at her. Don't exaggerate with the poor thing. Okay, fine, don't yell at me, you Swedish filth. That was an inside joke that's not meant to be offensive. Harlan raised both hands in surrender. Gladion led Null back up the stairs, hoping nobody had noticed he was gone. Harlan retreated to her room in case she got in trouble, leaving Gladion alone with a stubborn type Null. Null, if you don't move your ass, I'm gonna get beheaded. Gladion looked at Null with a glare that made it stand up. He snuck Null into his room where he found his mother, Guzma, and Sun. Suddenly Gladion knew what Sun had done. He held Null close to him, fixing him with a vicious glare. Fuck you, Sun. 6. Exactly, what do you want with that thing? Wait, exactly what do you want with that thing? It's my friend. I would never leave it alone for a day. Your killing friend, I mean. Um, Lusamine had taken Gladion to her office while Guzma promised, promised to get rid of Null. Gladion was snarking his mother. Mother, I don't kill. Yes, you did, sweetie. And Lusamine winked at him. Remember? Gladion snarled, clenching and unclenching his handcuffed fists. And now you're back to kill the royal family off? Pathetic, just like your father. Um, Lusamine leaned against the table. Maybe that's where you should be sent, along with your pretty girlfriend and your sister. Back to your father. Gladion swallowed. He'll know what to do with you, either wanting to drown you, kill you barehanded, or get the Pokemon to do it. Lusamine thrust her face in his. You used to be normal, and now you're trying to stop my reign? What kind of son are you? You should be one who obeys his mother at all costs. And you should be the mother who respects her children's wishes, Gladion snapped back. What are you gonna do, punch me? Lusamine giggled, closing her eyes. You can't, dear, your hands are cuffed. I could easily kick you. Gladion lifted his legs and kicked off the table. He rolled out of the chair, landing on the floor. Lusamine stood over him. And now you can't even get up. She planted a foot on her son's chest, flinching in disgust as she felt the unevenness of his ribs. What did you do to yourself? You used to have a flat chest. Now you look like a girl. Jesus Christ, woman! Gladion hissed like a cat and threatened to bite her. Gladion! Lily cried out in anguish. Gladion hadn't even seen her as she pulled him away from their mother. Are you okay? Lily asked. Yes. Lusamine glared at her children. Now I have a too considerate prince. How remarkable. One child in the dungeon, the other helping around the household. What the fuck? Lily held her brother close. You can't make me your slave. Um, Gladion gritted his teeth, suddenly finding the strength to break the chain of his handcuffs. He raised two fists in victory, feeling the chain snap satisfyingly. You know what that reminds me of? This. Huh. Oh, I can't breathe without screaming earlier. Lily and Lusamine gasped. Run, Dee! Lily yelled as Gladion made the rushed attempt to get out of the office. The childish nickname brought a wave of nostalgia over him as he exploded out of the door, and he shook it off and shoved past guards who shot after him. No, no, we're wanted. Go, if you can hear me, just run. I'm gonna fucking swim for it. As he screamed this, one of the guards who shot at him raised his rifle higher. Gotcha, boy. That split second in the blink of an eye, Gladio knew he was gonna drop to his death as he didn't pick up the pace. Um, He wasn't fast enough as the bullet collided with him. Gladion screamed as the bullet hit him in the back, falling to the floor. He skidded to a halt, the world becoming fuzzy to his vision. Huh? The guard stood over him. Stand up if you dare, child, the guard yelled. Gladion laid on the floor, chuckling bittersweetly. Go on, shoot me. Put everyone into anguish. The queen's son supposedly brings joy to everyone except his own mother. My sister will be depressed. My closest friend will do something that I can't say on YouTube if I die. My partner will be executed. The guard wasn't afraid to cock his gun and aim it in Gladion's heart. They deserve it. Is that your choice? Gladion asked. Putting everyone through pain and suffering? If I die, the world will become more vulnerable. I'm the most dangerous assassin in Alola, and the world will become more weak. Yeah, if I can't stop Mother because I'm dead, the world's regions will fall into war against each other. Gladion's breath hitched as a searing pain in his chest shocked him. His breathing progressively became more ragged, and he glared at the guard. Kill me. Go ahead. Let the world fall into anarchy. If you're an assassin, where's your gun? The guard interrogated. Ask my mother, Gladion roared. The guard lowered the rifle, intimidated. I'll let you go now, but you're getting dragged over to Guzma if I see you running around and disturbing peace again. As the guard left him to struggle, Gladion half closed his eyes. Oh, excuse me. Something was definitely wrong. He was never this sleepy. He struggled to stay awake, but he lost consciousness and all connections to Harlan in one outrageous flare of pain. Drink break. It was darker than it had ever been. Gladion couldn't wake up. He was sure his time in life had ended until he was jerked awake. Um, Gladion's eyes flew open, his head spinning. He let out a soft groan, not wanting to be in the same room he always seemed to wake up to. Sir, you're awake! Gladion jerked his head to see Sun running towards him. I just triggered Siri. Following the procedures in order not to be busted. I'd rather be dead. Gladion rolled his eyes. Sun stepped back. Sir, the employees have personally asked me to tell you this message. Who hlpe? Then tell me already, Gladion snarled. You have approximately 7 months, 12 days, and 47 minutes left to live, I think that was meant to say. Oh, Gladion was sure he hadn't heard right, and he shot up, almost falling off the bed. What? Gladion shrilled. Sir, 7 months, the Swedish assassin yelled. You're kidding. Come on, you personally know me. You're fucking around with me, Luke. Sun narrowed his eyes. Excuse me, but you have no rights to refer to me as my true-to-life name. Actually, that's his dead name, I think. Come on, don't fuck around. You're joking. I'm not, Sun protested. With that, everything that Gladion felt broke into a million pieces. His love for Harlan ached more than anything else, and he threw himself back on the bed. Um, Sun watched him through slitted eyes. Sir, the lady's here to see you, he reported. I'll leave you two alone. He left the room, his footsteps receding. Gladion was thrown into a cyclone of darkness, fear, and his memories as he hid under the blanket. He felt someone's delicate hand touch his back, instantly recognizing the touch. He raised his head out of the sheets, looking up at Harlan with watery eyes. Dee, I heard. She looked down at him. Who hasn't? He snapped. I'll never get to live my life the way I want to. Now I can't marry you. Harlan blushed, looking down at him with shimmering blue eyes. You wouldn't have been able to. Lucy means wedding is tomorrow. Huh. Huh. Gladion felt stress on his ribs, crushing them until he couldn't breathe. Oh, oh my god. She's gonna kill us all. I found out your killer's secret, Gladiolus Ether. Harlan crossed her arms. You lied. You're still the assassin you were. Ah, Gladion struggled to be flirtatious at a time like this. I'm your assassin, nobody else's. She glared at him. Gladion, this is serious. Come on. Trust me, I'm supposed to be your partner. Gladion sat up. I can't trust you now. How am I supposed to? You could kill me if you wanted to. I'm sorry, Gladion. I'm just shocked. She lowered her head. Gladion felt himself shaking. Trembling, actually. I won't let Mother marry Guzma. She's anyways going to, Dee. Harlan sighed. I don't care. I'll just kill her off like she made me do before. No, you won't. Harlan snarled, leaping up on him and pinning his arms back. You're gonna give up assassination. You get me? You're not sticking to your past. Your past was definitely not the best. It makes me superior. Claudia spat in her face. It makes me stronger. It makes you a bad person, Harlan hissed back. Gladion squirmed out from underneath her. The dizziness was back along with his trouble with breathing. Get out, he muttered. It isn't you. I need to breathe. Gladion, no! Harlan yelled as he dropped back on the bed, darkness taking over him once more. Oh my fucking god. Here we go, man. I'm gonna go take a piss. I will be back. Alright, we're back, and now we're in the Vine Sauce chapter. Um, I do not want to read this, but here we go. Dedicated to Bark Skeletor Joel. I even gave you a part, old buddy. Oh yeah, that's a real picture of Vine Sauce Joel from who I'm using from now on. Joel, if you ever find this, I appreciate you greatly, and I'm honoring you when I use your name. Yeah, right. Um, yeah, okay. Word around the Foundation rumored that Gladion was worthless and dead. Harlan refused to believe it. Another part of her was leaning towards the awful truth, but the other told her he was just unconscious. I hope. Um, she paced the hallways, almost bumping into Sun. He looked at her, noticing that Gladion wasn't there. He hadn't heard about Gladion's current state, so he saw this as suspicious. Ma'am, I'm gonna have to ask you to exit the area, he ordered. Oh, come the fuck on. Harlan glared at him. Sun glared back at her. Son, you better move your ass out of the way before I force it to move. She glared at him. Sun moved, but didn't approve of his ex running down into the dungeons. She swept past two guards who were yelling at the prisoners, and then froze as she saw the fully suited Guzma staring at himself through a hand mirror with 6 guards surrounding him. Oh, God. I look pretty handsome, if you know what I mean. Now where's my future wife? Guzma ordered. She's busy signing the divorce papers, one of the guards said. His accent was thick with evidence that he had Swedish roots as well as Gladion did, and it shook her. Um, well, tell her to hurry up. Guzma turned and started to walk towards the door with Harlan, or where Harlan was standing. Harlan made a run for it just as Guzma saw the flash of brown blonde hair. Hey, get her! Guzma yelled. Harlan turned to see 3 or 4 guards on her tail and made an attempt to outrun them. She failed miraculously, and she felt someone grab onto her. Can't run now, can ya? It was the same Swedish dude she heard talking about Lusamine. Let her go, Joel. Sorry, I'm checking my phone. Harlan looked up sharply to see Gladion standing in the hall. He looked bedraggled, but Harlan knew he'd heard what was going on. She felt Joel's grip tighten on her. She was intruding, he retorted. Then I'll just have to fight you myself, huh? Gladion sneered. He raised a pistol, taking very bad aim. Give the poor dude a break, Harlan heard Sun say behind her. Joel suddenly let go, laughing uncomfortably without smiling. He couldn't shoot me if he tried, he boasted. Joel, you should know that Gladion is the most dangerous assassin in Alola, Sun sighed impatiently. Go escort Harlan back to her room, and I'll get Gladion My God, I can't speak. And I'll get Guzman to bring Gladion back to his bed. Oh God, my full name. Joel took her by the arm, keeping her away from Gladion as far as possible. He Harlan could see the vicious look in his brown but also almost black but not so much eyes, and she pried his arm off of hers even though it was making her all tingly inside. Hey, you're not going anywhere, Joel snarked, grabbing her back. Let me see my boyfriend, Harlan snarled, kicking at him. Joel thrust his face in hers. You love that assassin? Come on, Harlan tilted her head. He's a better person now. I don't believe that. Joel let his eyes soften. What about me? I could give me a chance. I'll show you things you never seen. What the fuck? Before she could respond, Joel flung her into the corner where he was sure nobody would find him and her. I'm not reading that. Pause to read that. I'm not reading that out loud. Anyway, um, I think I'm gonna get to 12 because we're skipping 11. So, this is 8. Harlan. Harlan looked up to see Gladion's bedraggled shape in the doorway. You want to go crash a wedding? He asked. Sure, if it's this it means. She started to stand up. You'd get killed, you and me both, Gladion said softly. I was kidding. Oh, Gladion, that's what I love you for, yourself, Harlan giggled. He smirked. Well, come on, let's go snoop around, he said. Offering his arm to her. Harlan took his arm, being led down the hall. He was giggling with a laugh that was similar to Joel's in a way, of course. And Harlan spotted the Swede who'd attempted to do things. What's the deal with Sun and Joel? Harlan asked quietly. Sun is technically Joel's mentor. Gladion hissed. Fucking Luke, that's so typical of him. Oh, Harlan noticed Sun walk up to Joel and discuss something quietly with him. Um, Gladion watched them with his sharp eyes standing up a little bit. Harlan noticed his look of pain in his eyes. I can't crouch for so long. He stretched one of his legs, noticing Harlan's odd look. This is also a lore thing. You never told me you could stretch your legs so far back. Harlan looked at him lovingly. I used to be quite the dancer before this happened to me. He didn't look at her. Glad to have that out, he muttered under his breath. Aw, poor Dee, Harlan teased. Shut up, I had nothing to occupy myself with when I ran away, you know. He glared at her. Harlan saw Joel look up, his eyes scanning the area where they were hiding. Shit. Glad don't get down before we get busted. Harlan pulled him down on top of her. Um, Mostly, she was just scared that Joel would notice her and accuse her of coming back so soon. She could just imagine him saying, crawling back to me so soon. Mostly she could do this because of her imitation of Gladion. You need to take a shower, you smell like spit. Gladion looked up at her. Stop sniffing me. Harlan shoved him. The only thing I've sniffed on you are your panties. Gladion whispered, of course. Why is there a wet spot under my table? Oh, sorry. Sorry, that was something else. Um, Gladion whispered, You're disgusting. Gladion pressed himself closer to her. Harlan could feel his heart racing under her fingers. Harlan, it's strange how long you can crouch and not get tired. Gladion's voice was hardly a breath. I'll explain it later. Um, Harlan looked up, meeting Joel's lightened gaze. He smiled a snarky look in his eyes. Fuck up, Joel. Harlan thought at him and hid again as she saw Sun approach him. Joel, you almost never smile. What's gotten you so happy these days? She heard Sun ask him. I cannot English today. Have you seen Gladion's girlfriend? Joel asked calmly. Yeah, but she's a heartbreaker. How dare he? Harlan hissed to herself. Ow. Gladion winced as she dug her fingernails under his shoulders. Sorry. She looked down at him. Don't sweat it, he whispered. So you're telling me you have a crush on Harlan? Son said disapprovingly. Don't you like her? Joel asked, sadness losing his voice. Sure, I'd like her, but I don't have an overly massive crush on her. The son sneered. Oh, well. Joel sneered back. Gladion pulled himself up on Harlan's chest, chuckling bittersweetly. Poor son, the Swedish assassin muttered. He grunted in pain and stood up a little bit. Ugh. I guess I'll leave you with your thoughts, son muttered as Joel glanced over to the spot where the duo was hiding. He waited till Son walked away, then snuck over to them. Harlan, Joel whispered, looking around warily. Ow, Joel, Harlan hissed under her breath. What do you want? Gladion snapped quietly. Don't kill me. I'm completely on your side. Joel looked over his shoulder. You're not supposed to be here. No shit, Sherlock. Gladion pulled one leg back as far as he could go. Come on, Joel said firmly. He offered his arm to Harlan, who took it and stood up. Ow, the edge of you two hurts, Gladion teased. Hey, I'm still under Lucimine's reign. I'm supposed to be respectful and dignified to women. Joel watched him stand up and reject his help. If you let anything happen to her, I'm gonna throw you in the sea. Gladion snapped, taking Joel's rifle. I'm more skilled in using that, thank you very much. I might as well go take her to her bedroom and fuck, Joel teased. You may not. Gladion shoved him as he walked past, pulling his hood over his head so he blended in with the shadows on the far edge of the room where the sun didn't shine through the window completely on him. Joel rolled his eyes. Assassin.
Knulla.
He muttered under his breath. Sorry, I didn't mean to copy it. Joel didn't care Harlan didn't care what Joel thought of Gladion. She loved the two of them. Ouch, I'm technically cheating. Harlan looked down at her feet. I know what you're thinking, and it's only a little bit true. Joel's voice scared her for a minute, then settled down as he pulled her hair back over her ears. Not reading that. Paused to read it. Ooh, sweet. She heard Gladion sneer from the far side of the room. What? Harlan hissed. Come on, she ordered, dragging Joel behind her. Joel did his best to hide her in the shadows, which Harlan greatly appreciated since she was more of a fan of lighter clothing, which she found stood out in the shadows, such as Joel did to her. What the fuck does that even mean? Here, he finally said after a few minutes of struggle. He took off his jacket, revealing a black t-shirt underneath. He placed it on her shoulders and kept a lookout for anyone who would see. Harlan, I'm a genius. Gladion beckoned her, and she noticed he had stacked up boxes to build a protective wall. She dove behind the boxes, noticing Joel was following her and not him. I can usually shoot from these cracks, Gladion whispered. You're not going to shoot your own mother, right? Harlan asked sternly. Of course not. I'm going to spook everyone with blanks, he said sarcastically. Of course I'm going to. It'll be a bad attempt, but I'll try. The assassin in you never wears down, does it? Joel teased, leaning against the wall. I doubt it ever will, Joel. Harlan looked at him optimistically. He looked back at her sadly, his brown eyes flickering with sympathy. He reached out for her hand as Gladion's back was turned, and she took it. The feeling of his fingers entwined with hers. Blah blah blah. Blah blah blah. Pause to read that. Gladion screamed and was tackled to the floor. Joel immediately let go of her and grabbed the rifle off of the floor, aiming it at the heir's attacker. Unhand him, he snapped. I don't need your help, Gladion hissed back at him. Harlan had forgotten what a vicious character he could be, so she was slightly shocked as Gladion kicked the attacker in the belly with a lashing kick. His attacker slid across the floor while Joel shielded Harlan. She didn't understand Joel's defensiveness. She felt uncomfortable, blah blah blah. Um, pause to read. Um, so I'm very tired. I'm gonna pause. I just skimmed this. Um, we'll be back at like 9, chapter 9, once I feel asked to do this again. Okay. Um, thanks guys. See ya.